This video is about computations with addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, absolute value, and exponents. So first let's talk about what absolute value is. Absolute value is the distance a number is away from zero in both the positive and negative direction. Remember when we talk about distance, the distance is always positive. Therefore, the absolute value of a number is always positive. The symbol for absolute value is two straight bars. So instead of seeing parentheses, you're going to see two straight bars. So number one, 10, the absolute value of 10 means how many units is 10 away from 0? So think about if I put somebody at 10 on the number line, how far would they have to walk to get to 0? 10 units. The absolute value of negative 15 means how many units is negative 15 away from 0? Again, it's 15. Remember, we're always talking about distance with a positive number. So evaluate the following. The absolute value of 18 is just 18. The absolute value of negative 21. So how far is it away from 0? 21. Now, 5 is where it gets a little bit tricky because there's a negative out front. So this negative out front really means negative 1 times the absolute value of 50. So first, we need to do the absolute value of 50 and then worry about the negative 1. So we have negative 1 times the absolute value is 50. And then multiply, get a negative. The only time you will have a negative solution is if there is a negative out front. Number 6, the absolute value of 0. So how far am I away from 0? 0. I didn't move anywhere. Number 7, the negative absolute value of 13 minus 3 plus 5. So first we need to do some simplifying inside here. 13 minus 3 is 10. Plus 5 gets us the negative absolute value of 15. So remember, that's really negative 1 times the absolute value of negative 15, or of 15. Negative 1 times 15, negative 15. So number 9, the negative absolute value of negative 9. The absolute value of negative 9 means that we're 9 units away from 0, but we have a negative out front, so that's why we're getting a negative 9. Plus the absolute value of negative 17. How far is negative 17 away from 0? Just 17 units, and then we can add them together to get 8. 9. 81 minus the absolute value of 15 minus 19. So first we need to do our operation. 15 minus 19 is negative 4. So the absolute value of negative 4 is 4. So we have 81 minus 4, which gets us 77. Number 10, 2 squared minus the absolute value of negative 21. So let's do our absolute value first. So 2 squared minus the absolute value of negative 21 is now positive 21. The negative stays because there was a negative out front. 2 squared is 4. So 2 minus 21 gets us negative 17. Order of operations. So order of operations helps us simplify to solve a expression. So in order to use the correct order of operations to solve a expression is order of operations. A way to help us remember order of operations is the acronym PEMDAS. So P is going to stand for our parentheses. It also stands for if there's absolute value bars in the problem, or brackets. E stands for exponents. The third step is done together. So we're going to multiply and divide from left to right by the order that we see them. So multiplying is not more important than dividing. They're the same importance. And then the last step is our addition and subtraction based on seeing them from left to right. So remember, operations that have the same priority, which are multiply and divide, or add and subtract, are performed from left to right. So subtraction and addition, whichever comes first when I read my equation, that's what I'm going to do first. I'm not going to do addition over subtraction just because it starts with a letter earlier in the alphabet or because it's on the top when I look at my order of operation steps. So number 11 is 18 minus 5 plus 6. So first, I want to look at this subtraction because that's what happens from left to right. So 18 minus 5 is 13. Carry down the plus 6, and now I can add these two together, and we get 19. Number 12, 2 times 12 divided by 3. So first we're going to multiply, because that's the first step we come across from left to right. We get 24 divided by 3. Then we can divide, and we get 8. So let's carry this idea along as we complete harder order of operation problems. So number 13, the square root of 81 minus 28 divided by 4. So I don't see any parentheses. This square root of 81 is treated like an exponent. So in my calculator, if I'm not sure of the square root, I can do second, that x squared button, the fifth one down, which gets me my square root, 81, enter. That gets me 9 minus 28 divided by 4. So now I'm in my third step. Do I see any multiplying and dividing? I do see a division, which I need to do first. So 28 divided by 4 is 7. So 9 minus 7 is 2. Number 14, 2 minus 3 times the absolute value of negative 4 minus 6 plus 2 times negative 5 squared. So first we need to simplify my absolute value. So negative 4 minus 6 is negative 10. What's the absolute value of negative 10? 10. So 2 minus 3 times 10 plus 2 parentheses negative 5 squared. My next step is, do I see any exponents? I see a negative 5 squared. So in my calculator, see that negative 5 is in parentheses? So use parentheses in your calculator. So parentheses negative 5 squared, which gets us 25. So 2 minus 3 times 10 plus 2 times 25. Next, I'm going to read my problem from left to right, and I see multiplication. So 3 times 10 is 30. So 2 minus 30 plus 2 times 25. Then I see another multiplication of 2 times 25. So 2 minus 30 plus 50. 2 minus 30, gets us negative 28 plus 50. And then negative 28 plus 50 is positive 22. Number 15. This one has a fraction bar, which is still treated the same way with order of operations. We just have to might have to reduce a fraction later on. So first I see no parentheses, but I do see an absolute value, so I need to do that first. So 2 squared is 4. What's the absolute value of 4? Is just positive 4 still. So negative 3 times 4 over 2 minus 4 times 3. Now, notice in this, because it's a fraction, we can do these multiplications at the same time because they're in the top and the bottom of the fraction. So in my numerator, the top of the fraction, I have negative 3 times 4, which is negative 12. And on the bottom, 4 times 3 is also 12, so 2 minus 12. When I subtract on the bottom, I get negative 12 over negative 10. And I can reduce that fraction. It's always good to double check anyway, so I'm going to put this in my calculator. Negative 12 divided by negative 10. Enter. I get a decimal. Math. Enter, enter. And this reduces to 6/5. Make sure that you're always reducing your fractions. Number 16. 14 times 2 over 8 plus 7 squared minus 1. So I see no parentheses or absolute value. I do see an exponent, so I need to do that first. So I now have 14 times 2 over 8 plus 49 minus 1. Next, I see if there's any multiply and divide, and there is a multiply in the numerator. So 14 times 2 is 28 over 8 plus 49 minus 1. And then I can add 8 plus 49 is 57 minus 1 gets us 56. Now once I get to this part of my fraction, I'm going to see if I can reduce it. So 28 divided by 56, math, enter, enter, and this reduces to 1/2. Number 17, I have negative 1/5 times the quantity negative 2 squared plus the absolute value of negative 19 plus 2 minus 3 times negative 12. So first I need to start with this parenthesis. The absolute value of negative 19 is 19. Negative 2 squared, notice that there's no parentheses around it. So negative 2 squared is negative 4. So we get negative 4 plus 19, which is now 1/5 times 15, because negative 4 plus 19 is 15, plus 2 minus 3 times negative 12. Next, I'm going to look at multiplying. So when I multiply, when I first look at this, I need to multiply 1/5 times 15. So parenthesis 1 divided by 5 times 15 is 3 plus 2 minus 3 times negative 12. Make sure when we're multiplying here, we're counting this as a negative 3. We're going to keep that sign with the number. So we get 3 plus 2, negative 3 times negative 12 is positive 36. And then we have 3 plus 2 is 5 plus 36 gets us 41. Number 18. So we need to simplify the parentheses on the top first. So the absolute value of negative 3 is 3 times 2 plus 20. 2 times 3 is 6, so 20 plus 6. We end up with 26 minus 11 in the numerator. We have negative 5 squared plus 12 divided by 6 in the denominator. So we're going to square the negative 5. Make sure we're using parentheses since it was written with parentheses. 26 minus 11 over 25 plus 12 divided by 6. So we're going to divide, which gets us 2. 26 minus 11 over 25 plus 2. Now, because we have addition and subtraction which have the same importance, and they're in a numerator and a denominator, we can do them at the same time again. So 26 minus 11 is 15, and 25 plus 2 is 27. We're going to see this reduces at all, so in the calculator, 15 divided by 27. Math, enter, and we get 5/9. Now we're going to look at the problems where there's a variable in it, and we have to substitute a value in before we can evaluate. So in number 19, we have 3x squared plus 4 when x is 4. So we're going to substitute 4 in place of x. Everything else stays the same. When you are substituting, make sure you put that value in parentheses. So we have 3 parentheses 4 squared plus 1, and now we do order of operations. So first we're going to do our exponent. 4 squared is 16. So 3 times 16 plus 1. 3 times 16 is 48 plus 1, which simplifies to 49. Number 21 minus 32 divided by 4 squared when x is negative 4. So we're going to put negative 4 into parentheses. 1 minus 32 divided by negative 4 squared. Remember that we need parentheses, especially when it's negative, so that we're doing -4 times -4, which still is 16. So 1 minus 32 divide by 16. Next, we're going to do our division. So 32 divided by 16 is 2. 1 minus 2 gives us -1. Number 21. 2 times the absolute value of x minus 4 plus 5 times the absolute value of -4. So we're going to substitute 6 in for x. 2 absolute value of 6 minus 4 plus 5 times the absolute value of -4. So 6 minus 4 is 2. The absolute value of 2 is 2. So 2 times 2 plus 5 times the absolute value of -4 is 4. Then I'm going to do my multiplication first on the left. So 2 times 2 is 4 plus 5 times 4. Do my other multiplication that was on the right. So 5 times 4 is 20. So 4 plus 20 simplifies to 24. 22, 2 times the absolute value of 3x minus 2 plus 6. So we're going to substitute -4 in for x. 2 absolute value of 3 times -4 minus 2 plus 6. So 12 times -4, or 3 times -4 is -12. Minus 2 is -14. So we have 2 times the absolute value of -14 plus 6. The absolute value of -14 is positive. So 2 times 14 plus 6. We're going to multiply 2 times 14 to get 28 plus 6, which simplifies to 34.